This wallet is 47 years old, and if you look inside, there is no credit card. There never has been. Not one. Not ever. Not in my 20s, not in my 40s, not when everyone around me was swiping and spending and living large on borrowed money. My name is Harold. I am 101 years old. And I am going to tell you something today that most financial experts, most bank managers, most money influencers will never say, because it goes against everything they were trained to sell you. The thing they told you to build first, your credit score, your credit history, your credit card, was the thing I refused to touch my entire life. And yet here I am, 101 years old, comfortable, debt-free, with enough wealth to take care of my children, my grandchildren, and their children after them. Everyone said I was doing it wrong. My banker said it. My neighbors said it. My own son sat me down at my kitchen table when he was 30 and told me I was living in the past. That credit was just a tool, and smart people use tools. I listened to every word he said, and then I told him what I want to tell you right now, before we go any further. A tool in the hands of a disciplined person builds things. The same tool in the hands of someone chasing comfort destroys them. Slowly, quietly, in a way they don't even notice until it is far too late. I was not willing to gamble on my own discipline, so I removed the temptation entirely. And what I built in its place, over 100 years of living, is what I want to share with you today. I grew up during a time when the world had no safety nets. You spent what you had, or you did without. That wasn't philosophy. That was just Tuesday. I watched my father work 6 days a week. Long, hard days. And still he came home with empty pockets more often than not. Not because he was lazy, but because every time he got a little ahead, something took it back. The landlord, the interest, the installment plan on a refrigerator that cost him 3 times its worth by the time the final payment cleared. I was 12 years old when I watched my father's face at the dinner table one evening. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. And in that moment, I made a decision that shaped every financial choice I made for the next 9 decades. I decided I would never owe anyone a single coin I didn't already have in my hand. People call that old-fashioned. I call it the reason I am sitting here at 101, free, peaceful, and still giving money away. But this story is not just about what I refused to do. Refusing things alone never made anyone wealthy. This is about what I chose to do instead. So stay with me. Let me tell you about the year I almost gave in. It was the early 1950s. I had been running a small trading business, cloth mostly. Nothing glamorous. A rented stall in the market. Small, modest, but mine. I knew every coin that came in and every coin that went out. I slept well at night. One afternoon, a man walked in wearing a suit that cost more than my monthly earnings. He was from a bank. He slid a document across the counter, a credit line, enough capital to triple my inventory overnight, enough to move out of that stall and into a proper shop on the main street. He said, and I remember these words exactly, "Everyone is already doing this. Your competition is using this money right now. If you don't move, you will be left behind. I looked at that paper for a long time. I thought about my father. I thought about the refrigerator. I folded the paper and handed it back. The man laughed when he left. A real laugh. The kind that says, "This old fool has no idea what he's throwing away." You know what happened to the merchants who took every line that banker offered? 3 were completely bankrupt within 8 years. 2 more were still paying off debts well into the 1970s. 1 lost his family home. Me, I was still there. Smaller than them, slower than them, but still standing, still sleeping. The tortoise does not win by learning to run faster. The tortoise wins by refusing to stop. Now let me give you the 3 habits that actually built my wealth. Not inspiration, not theory. Things I did every week, every year, for decades. The first, I called it my 24-hour wall. Any purchase above a certain amount, I would wait exactly 1 full day before spending. I would sleep on it, wake up the next morning and ask 1 question. Do I still want this, or did I just want it yesterday? Desire has a shelf life. What feels urgent at 3 in the afternoon almost always feels optional the following morning. Credit cards are built, deliberately and at great expense, to eliminate that gap. The tap, the swipe, the instant, it all exists to get your money out of your hands before your brain catches up to your wallet. I had no such machine working against me, so desire had time to die, and I kept my money. Over 70 years, the money I did not spend became the money I invested. That 24-hour pause, practiced faithfully across a lifetime, may have been worth more to my net worth than any single investment I ever made. The second habit, I do not use what I do not own. When I wanted a real shop, not a rented stall, I did not take a loan. I worked from that small stall for 4 more years. 4 years of patience while men around me borrowed capital to open large stores and looked very successful indeed. When I finally bought my shop, I paid the full price in cash. One day, I counted the money, shook hands, and walked out, owning it completely. No bank had a claim. No lender could touch it. No bad season could take it from me. 2 of those larger borrowed stores closed within a decade. Debts called in. Owners left with nothing, owing more than they started with. My shop is still standing. Here is the truth about debt nobody puts in the brochure. You do not only borrow money when you take a loan, you borrow risk. And risk does not care about your business plan. Risk is patient. It waits for your most vulnerable moment, and then it collects. I refused to borrow risk, and it kept me safe for a century. The third habit surprises people most, because they assume that since I avoided debt, I must have kept my savings buried in a tin can somewhere. No, that would have been a different kind of foolishness. From my very first year of real earning, I took a fixed percentage, one I chose and never changed, and put it into things that would grow while I slept. Land when I could afford it, fixed deposits, physical gold stored safely. Later, when I truly understood them, long-term positions in slow, boring, unglamorous businesses. I never speculated, never chased the exciting thing everyone at the tea shop was talking about, never tried to time anything. I chose boring. I chose slow. I chose reliable. And slow over a lifetime of consistent, patient, undramatic investing becomes something extraordinary. The real multiplier in investing is not the market. It is not the interest rate. The single greatest multiplier available to any human being is completely free and almost entirely ignored. It is time. Time is the multiplier, and most people waste it, waiting until the amount feels big enough, waiting until they feel ready, waiting until they understand it perfectly, while the clock compounds quietly in the other direction. I started early. I stayed consistent. I never stopped. Time did the rest. People ask me, do I carry regret for the choices I made? I think about my wife when they ask that. She passed 11 years ago. We were married 42 years. We never had a honeymoon. We simply couldn't afford it when we were young, and by the time we could, life had filled up with children and work and the beautiful, ordinary business of living. But in 42 years, a debt collector never once knocked on our door. We never had a sleepless night because of money owed. We never carried that specific, grinding, invisible weight of knowing someone owned a piece of our life. We slept peacefully together for 42 years. That peace is a luxury, and it is a luxury most people, no matter how much they earn, never actually buy for themselves. My grandchildren ask what I would tell a 25-year-old just starting out. I tell them this: the credit card does not give you freedom. It sells you the sensation of freedom, the feeling of having more than you have, the feeling of access, the feeling of not having to wait. And then it charges you interest on that feeling, month after month, year after year, quietly and politely. It charges you for the feeling it sold you. Real freedom is different. Real freedom is waking up and nothing owns you. No bank, no lender, no minimum payment, no rate. Just you and your day and your choices. That freedom is not bought in a moment. It is built slowly, stubbornly, quietly, through small decisions made correctly, repeated across years and decades. I am 101 years old. I have never been owned by a bank. I have never paid interest on a feeling. And I promise you, with everything I have lived and everything I have seen, that is the greatest wealth a human being can hold. I am not telling you credit cards are evil. The world is more complicated than that, and I have lived long enough to know it. What I am telling you is this: these are tools, and every tool demands discipline and a clear understanding of what it can do to you if you use it carelessly. I chose not to use the tool, not out of fear, but because I knew myself well enough, sitting at that dinner table at 12 years old, to know I was not willing to take the risk. The life I built without it, the wealth, the peace, the sleep, the freedom, was worth every moment of patience. If even one thing I said today makes you pause before the next swipe, if one sentence plants a seed of a different way of thinking, then I have done something worth doing. Start with a 24-hour wall. Just that. One small pause between desire and spending. You would be amazed what that one habit, practiced faithfully across years, can quietly become.